Here we are on the notes for 1.12, ratios of fractions and their unit rates. So this video is going to be pretty short because it's pretty much just a review of lesson 11, like it's just more practice in the classwork. So in the review box it says a fraction whose numerator or denominator is itself a fraction is called a complex fraction. And then, remember a unit rate is a rate which is expressed as A over B units of the first quantity per 1 unit of the second quantity. Okay, so we're actually going to skip down to the second page and we are just going to do exercise 1 here, just as a refresher. So it says, which car can travel farther on 1 gallon of gas? The blue car travels 18 2/5 miles using 0.8 gallons of gas. And then the red car travels 17 2/5 miles using 0.75 gallons of gas. So first, we have to figure out, which one is our x, which one is our y. So when you're thinking about this, think about, independent versus dependent, or maybe input versus output, okay? So the independent variable here, something that could just kind of live on its own, would be the gallons of gas. All right, so this is our x. And then how many miles, that depends on how much gas you have in your car, and that will be our y. Okay, so gallons is x, miles is y. So I'm going to do the blue car first here. And I'm pretty much trying to figure out my unit rate. I'm trying to figure out how much for 1 gallon. So we're talking about miles on top. Remember, to find the unit rate, it's y over x, and gallons. So it'd be 18 2/5 miles over 0.8 gallons of gas. Now, we can't have a mixed number, so this would turn into 92 fifths. And then we don't want this decimal, so when you read it out loud, it's 8/10, so that'd be 8 over 10. Now I check for my least common multiple, which would be 10, so I multiply by 10 over 1 on both the top and the bottom. Check for cross division, so I get a 1 and a 2, a 1 and a 1 on the bottom. So on the top, 92 times 2 is 184 over 8 times 1 is 8. All right, and that can be simplified down to a whole number actually. And really, we don't want another fraction, so this would turn out to be 23. Oh my. Try that again. 23 miles per gallon. Okay, so that's the blue card. Then we're going to do the same thing for the red card. So again, we're talking about miles and we're talking about gallons. So for the red car, it was 17 2/5 or 0.75 miles or gallons of gas, sorry. So 17 2/5 turns into 87 fifths. And then 75 hundredths. You could write 75 hundredths, but what might be easier is if you write it as 3/4, right? That's 3/4. So now my least common multiple between 5 and 4 would be 20. Better than using hundredths, a little easier. So I cross divide on the top, I get a 1 and a 4 on the bottom. I would get a 1 and a 5. So when I multiply, 87 times 4 is 348 over 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, and then for this one, rather than like trying to simplify a fraction, if you just divide, you get a decimal. So this would be 23.2 miles per gallon. Okay, and obviously you can use a calculator for something like that. I'm really checking to see, you can use a calculator to help, but do you know how to set this up and show all your work? So the answer, who gets farther on 1 gallon of gas, would be the red car. Okay, so that's all we'll do in the notes, and then you'll do some more practice in your classwork.